Before we start, a few disclaimers to be said. First of all, some of you know that I live in a peculiar area, so explosions might be heard. If that happens, don't be scared, don't be startled. The worst thing that can happen in case there will be an explosion is my internet will go out or my electricity will go out. If that happens, I might not get online for a while. So I request that you guys wait for 20 minutes. If I'm not back by 20 minutes, consider that the lesson is over. Another thing to mention is that even though I'll be teaching you guys today, I live in Ukraine, Safran, in southeast of Ukraine, the occupied territory. I don't have sufficient academic knowledge. I was not a very good student. I was not paying a lot of attention in school. So I might not be using the same terminology as your conventional textbook. I'll be operating with words that I can think of, and I'll try to make it as comprehensible, as understandable as possible for you guys. Okay, so I wanted to walk you guys through the most basic of things, the Russian alphabet. Given that some of you guys here are completely new to this, I'll be doing a full overview of the alphabet. Then I'll review the tricky, quirky parts of it, which might be hard for foreign learners, which you might miss, and which I find to be interesting. Right? And then I will introduce you to my handwriting, because my handwriting is supreme and official Russian cursive is cursed. So let's start. I have Psy here, right? And what are we going to do? Russian uses the Cyrillic alphabet, which derives from Greek alphabet. The Russian Cyrillic alphabet has 33 symbols. 10 of them represent vowel sounds. 2 of them represent neither sound, neither vowel nor consonant. They're special symbols for different purposes. And I think 22 of them represent consonant sounds. Okay, let's just start by typing them all out. Let's start with consonants, okay? How do we do this? Let's do this in a vertical pillar, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, we've got 21 consonant sounds. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, 10 vowels, 21 consonants, and 2 additional quirky letters. I know this looks messy. I'm sorry for that, but there's a reason to why it looks this way. So this is the entirety of Russian alphabet. I did it this way in these vertical pillars because right now I'm going to do, next to this here pillar, transcription into what do these letters mean in Latin alphabet. So right off the bat, this here we have is a Russian counterpart of B. I know it doesn't look like it, and I know you're confused because this here looks like B, but it isn't. The next letter we have here is actually V, okay? Next one's pretty straightforward. It looks weird, but it's Russian D. I've got a cat here, okay? This reverse 7 thing here that looks like reverse 7 is actually Russian G, like in word green. Okay, next here, we've got this here weird monstrosity. Now, what is this? This here stands for Russian zh sound. Now, the kind of does look like a D. Okay, this here monstrosity is Russian zh sound. Now, learners make this mistake where they think it represents English J, which is not the case. It is neither J nor zh. It is a thick zh. Okay, I think it does change its pronunciation under some circumstances, but in its neutral state, it's zh. This here is z, z. if you look at it, it does kind of make sense because when you write English cursive, the lowercase z would look like this. Okay, so it does kind of make sense. It looks like this. Now this here stands for Russian y sound. Y as in year, let's say, okay? Now pay close attention because this here is a very important little sound we're going to talk about, letter we're going to talk about later, okay? I'm going to highlight it for you guys. Next, we have a pretty straightforward one. This is Russian K, K. This is Russian L. This is also straightforward. Russian M, M, right? Now this is not straightforward. This looks like H, and you would think it makes H sound, but it doesn't. This actually is N. It makes N sound. This here makes P sound, like English P. Now, coming back to this here, P sound, right? Again, if you want to memorize this particular letter, I would advise you think of mathematical pi. You know, the 314. It kind of looks like pi, doesn't it? Just keep this in mind. Okay, I don't know where did the P letter go, but never mind. Now this here looks like P, but again, it isn't. This is our old R. R. It makes R sound. Yeah, some people struggle with that sound, but I think especially people who speak some sort of Scottish, Irish, British accent, or people who speak Spanish won't have much of a trouble with this sound because it's practically the same. Now this here stands for Russian S. This is one of those straightforward letters. T makes T sound. This. Finally, this here is one of the tricky letters. It makes H sound, like this. H, simply H. Now, Latin transcription is weird, because in Latin transcription, you would see it written like this, KH. Many foreign learners of Russian language make the mistake based on this weird transcription, where they would pronounce this here letter as K. And that especially is something you can see in names. For example, in my country, in Ukraine, there's a city named Kharkiv. But because it's written like this, people read it as Kharkiv. It's not correct, guys. It is not correct. Do not make this mistake. Okay. This here looks like an O pierced with a vertical stroke. This is Russian F. F. Okay. This here, I don't even know what it looks like, but it makes ts sound like this. Ts. This here looks like a 4. Okay, it looks like a letter 4, somewhat. I do not know what can I say? It's pronounced as ch. Now, pay close attention. It is not thick sh. It's soft ch. And as far as I'm aware, unlike in Ukrainian, Russian ch is always soft. It never changes its pronunciation. It's never tr, always ch. The same way this here monstrosity is never zh, it's always a zh, but like vice versa. This here is always thick, and this here is always soft. My cat likes to snuggle. Okay, we've got quite a lot of them covered already. A few left to go. Now these here. These two letters are tricky little assholes because they create a lot of confusion. Now, that confusion comes from Latin transcription, as usual. This here, pitchfork, trident, it makes the sh sound. And this here, pitchfork with, little tail, it makes the sh sound. Now, you can see how this is weird, because English speakers do not use this combination of letters to represent sh sound. Sh sound is non-existent in English. And instead of representing sh, this here combination actually represents sh in English. So, for example, if I write words like shield, did I write it? Did I get it right? Let's just say I got it right. Okay. Let's say shop. Let's say, I don't know, shoot. So, as you guys can see, in each one of those words, the SH combination represents the sh sound. And for Russians, that is not the case. For Russians, this represents sh sound. And that is the reason why Russian accents seem so thick. Russian people would pronounce this as shub, this as shop, and this as shoot. All because of this little SH confusion. And the same will go for English-speaking people. For example, if I say, right, ship, right? Ship. This means a spike in Russian, okay? One you can pierce yourself with. English speakers, again, because of this confusion, would read this as sheep and not ship. Pay close attention to this. Remember, this is sh, and this monstrosity is sh. And so are these. So far, so good, guys. Am I not overwhelming you? Because Lane's saying I am. Russian does have a lot of nuances, a lot of exceptions. It breaks its own rules, and those rule breakings become its new rules. Yeah, pitchfork is a thicker sh, and a pitchfork with a tail is a softer sh. I think I could have just said that without all that explanation. That took me about a few minutes. I don't know. I think we're done with consonant sounds. Let's get to vowel sounds. Now, vowel sounds is where the juice is. Okay, I have already spelled them all here, but I think we maybe should create a new page specifically for the vowel sounds. Okay, there we go. So vowels, or as we say in Russian, гласные. Okay, гласные. It's a plural form of the word гласный, which derives from the word голос, which means voice. Голос, voice, гласный, vowel. Гласные, vowels. Yeah, vowels are lucky. Грязные. Okay, so vowel sounds. I believe that official Russian education does not make this distinction, where it separates Russian vowels into two separate groups. I do, based on my observations. So I get to choose the name for these two groups. Yay! Now, the name, I thought what to call them for quite a while, and I just simply came up with calling them singular and diphthongs. I'm not sure how to spell this one. Sorry. Diphthong. Thank you, Saffron. Yeah, it is a weirdly spelled one. A diphthong, for those of you who do not know, is a combination of two vowel sounds. We have a lot of these diphthongs in English language. For example, O, E, I, OE. I don't know if you can actually find all of them, but those are just some of the examples of what diphthongs are. And in Russian, we have 4 letters for diphthongs. But let's review the singular vowels first. Okay, so we have quite a few of them. We have A, E, U, E, O, and the tricky one, the one which people who are learning English, and I'm looking at you, Mike, get it wrong. U. Now, some people say that this here is pronounced as ui, which is hilarious because it's completely wrong. I honestly do not know who thought that was the case and taught you guys this. Those of you who are learning Russian, it is not true. This here letter U represents a sound very similar to what you would hear in English words such as it, big, fist, ring, rick, etc. Okay, this here, I, right? It represents a sound very similar, I'd say nearly identical to Russian U. It, big, I. Right, fish. This is one part that I hope helps you guide a lot because people do get it wrong all the time. Basically, it represents the same thing as English I. Okay? No, it doesn't. Oui. No. That's weird. Hey. You're a funny guy, Jeremy. Okay. Let me just write these down because I have spelled them, but I did not introduce you to how to read them. So this here is A. This here is E. This here is U. This here is E. Like in that one meme with Markiplier or someone who looks similar to him. And this here's O. Now, it's different from English O. It's not O. It's just O. Okay, guys? Right. These are singular vowel sounds. And now we can talk about diphthongs. Okay? Let me just get them out of the way somewhere higher up so that they don't take up extra space because we need that extra space, okay? Diphthongs, Russian diphthongs, okay. We have 4 of them. We have ya, we have you, we have ye, we have yo. Now, these diphthongs, they actually, each one of them makes 2 sounds. I'd say it's like they have 2 different modes, 2 different readings, 2 different ways to pronounce them. And I would like to name, again, because for the lack of a better term, I will give these readings names based on how they're formed. So we have yachted, we have eated, okay? 2 readings to that. Now, the names, they come from the way you form these. The names are based on what you use to create these diphthongs. In yachted form, you use the y consonant, and in eated form, you use the e vowel sound. Now, we have, what do we have? Jesus Christ. Again, 2 ways to read each and every one of these 4 letters. So, first one is ya. Yachted version of ya would be y plus a. Okay? Ya. Then the yachted version of you would be you. I digress again. You, in its yachted mode, is a combination of y plus u. Then yeah, in its yachted form, is a combination of y plus e. And finally, yo, which looks very similar to yeah, but just has 2 little dots over its head, is a combination of y, again, of y plus o. Okay, so it's the yachted form. I'll just hide them for now and make it easier for you. Ya, you, ye, yo. Right? Ya, you, yeah. And yo. Я люблю ее. Indeed, I do. Although, not ее. Okay. Next, we have the eated form. Now, eated form is just, it's the same thing, but basically every y gets replaced with e. For example, let's just make it like this, without all those extra steps. Let's write it down like this. Yeah. You. Yeah. Oh. Now this might look confusing because this is not what it's explained as usually. I don't think there's actually such a thing as eated form officially. And I don't think they actually think that this second way of reading it is a diphthong. But let's just, for the purpose of this lesson, say it's a diphthong. But pay attention. I have stressed these here letters. Now, I did that so that you guys do not pronounce the E letter here very, very defined, so to say. So it's not E-A, it's quick, yeah. The E is almost not heard. Same goes for U, E, Yo. Do not stretch the E. Okay? So that's the second way to read it. So we have 4 letters, but 8 different sounds. Now, you would like to learn, I don't know what you would like to learn, but let's say I would like to introduce you to, I forgot the word, conditions, right? Conditions under which we choose which one of these readings to use. There are a couple of these conditions, but before we talk about them, I'd like to talk about the tricky little soft mark and hard mark. In Russian, this is called мягкий знак, and this is called твердый знак. Okay, but we do not need that for now. Just remember, the one with the tail is hard, and the one without is soft. Now, what do? They do not produce sounds on their own. What they do is affect sounds around them, namely the preceding consonant and the following vowel sound. Now, the difference between the two is, first of all, both of them affect vowels that come after them, namely those diphthong vowel sounds. So they do not affect singular vowel sounds, I think. Okay, I might be wrong right now. If I am, Lane, please slap me in the face through your screen. Okay. So I think that soft mark and hard mark only affect those vowels which precede them, which follow them, which are diphthongs. So ya, ye, you, and yo. The same goes for hard mark. It affects following diphthongs, diphthong vowels. Now, the difference between these two letters is that soft mark also affects a preceding consonant sound, and hard mark does not. Okay, now let's talk about how exactly do they affect those vowel sounds. It's simple. Soft mark and hard mark are one of the conditions under which yachted reading is triggered. Back to the question, under which conditions do we use the yachted reading, and under which condition do we use the eated reading of ya, you, ye, and yo? There are a couple of conditions, but I forgot them, so I'll have to check them right now. Okay, let's talk about the yeeted reading. When do we use it? We use yeeted reading under 3 circumstances. So first one would be if a diphthong is in the beginning of a word. Okay, if a diphthong is in the beginning of a word, it's going to be in y mode. If a diphthong follows a singular vowel, it's going to be in its yeeted form. And finally, if a diphthong follows a soft mark or hard mark, it's again going to be using the yeeted form. Does this make sense so far, or am I being obnoxious? Yeah, Mike, you already know all of this. Anybody else? Do I need to explain this a little bit better? I'm actually sort of forgot what the word obnoxious means. Like annoying. Right. We've got the second way to read those diphthongs. I told you this many times over. It's the eated form. All right. Now, eated form is triggered simply after just one condition. If a diphthong is following a consonant. If a diphthong is following a consonant, which automatically means that it's not in the beginning of a word, okay? It's somewhere in the middle. It uses the E version of its pronunciation, all right? Okay, let's get a few examples of how this works. Yes, Jerry, you got it right. Объяснить. Though with the softening mark. Oh yeah, I did not explain this yet. Shit, I forgot. Sorry, guys. So softening mark and just the softening mark. The softening mark does not only make the diphthong yotted, but it also makes consonant soft. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Let's get, for example, a few consonant sounds, which I won't be using those which look different from English, okay? Let's get a t, k, I don't know. Okay, let's get one. No, okay. The, okay, let's do the. Now, okay, M, right, M. And also R, just to, I don't know, to annoy you guys. Okay, so these here, all of these are in their neutral, thick, hard form. By adding a soft mark to them, we make them softer. Okay, so T turns into T. K turns into K. D turns into D. M turns into M. And R turns into R. Makes sense? I'm glad to hear that. Even though I'm not hearing anything except for the voices in my head. Yeah, but there are some exceptions. There are some consonant sounds which do not change their pronunciation, even if you add a soft mark to them. So those would be ch, z, sh, and sh. I hope I did not forget anything. The second one is that monstrosity, like this one, zh. This is the way I write it. Officially, it's written like this, but I hate this way to write it. So this is the way to go. Yeah. Sorry, I'm using my personal handwriting instead of the official one. Okay, so because this here, ch, is always soft, adding a soft mark will not change its pronunciation. It was soft and it stayed soft. Ch, ch. For some wacky reason, this here, j, does not change its pronunciation as well. I think. Wait. I'm having second thoughts now about this. But usually in the endings of words, even if you add soft mark to a j, it stays j. Okay, thank you. Now these two here. Because sh is already the soft version of sh, soft mark will not affect neither of them too. Okay? This is already soft, and this here has a soft version of itself. So again, soft mark will not do anything even if you write it. It will not make them soft. This here is still sh, and this here is still sh. There's no way for it to become even softer. Okay. One more tricky thing to cover. Okay. Russian letters can change. What I mean is that you can write something. Yes, sh is always hard. I just said that. Even if you write a soft mark, it's still sh. Just like English, but to a lesser extent. Russian has this quirky little thing where it takes the spelling and pronounces it completely differently from how it's written. For example, we can see that in some words, letter O is pronounced as A. Or, for example, in some, yeah, Jeremy, you're right. In some words, you can see letter G as in green. You can see the letter G being substituted with V when pronouncing these words. Now, there are a lot of these nuances. And honestly, I think memorizing and trying to remember all of these nuances, all of these exceptions will be a headache. So honestly, don't bother. Even though I'm going to go through all of this right now, to walk you guys, don't bother. If you want to learn how to pronounce Russian, just practice it. Just do the shadowing technique. If you do not know what shadowing is, it's basically repeating words said by a native speaker. There are videos which you can find on YouTube where people say words in their native language and you just repeat after them. You can also learn songs. That's what I did with Spanish. Yeah, that works good. I think I've learned one French song a few years back, and I don't freaking know how to pronounce a French word. For the life of me, I wouldn't know. But yeah, learning songs is a great way to teach yourself how to pronounce language. Still, let's get back to our, to our canvas. And what else can I add? There's this quirky little nasty rule in Russian language. We have letter Z. Let me just get rid of these few, okay? We have the letter Z. We have the letter Sh. And we have, they're consonants, right? And then we have two vowel sounds. We have U, and we have I. Now, what's the T here? The T here is Z, Sh, always write with I. So whenever you want to say Z or She, you gotta write it with I. Now that automatically means that there is virtually no way for you to spell G or she. Well, you can spell she, okay, with sh a letter. So we're gonna talk is actually just this here, je. You cannot say G. There is simply no way. Writing it like this will get you a G. No matter how hard you want it not to, it will remain that way. And that is something you can very clearly see in Russian transcriptions of Japanese names. So, for example, if any of you have watched the movie Your Name by the Japanese animator Makoto Shinkai, what the hell? Shinkai, right? Well, guess what? In Russian, his surname is not Shinkai, it's Shinkai or Sinkai, as Lane here have pointed out. Or, for example, we have, I think, head of Nintendo, Eiji Aonuma, right? In English, he's not, in Russian, he ain't Eiji, he's Eiji. This does sound kind of cool, but then again, it's butchery of foreign words. There's actually two ways in Russian to transcribe English, to transcribe Japanese names. It's either sh or si. Again, for some reason, this here is pronounced like this. No idea why, but that's just the thing, and you have to suck it up. Okay, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, Paul Ivanov is actually an idiot. I don't know. Why did he do that? I hate the way he transcribes Japanese names. Like, dude, you know Naruto, right? They got this Kakashi sensei. Well, he's Kakashi now. Or Sharingan. Guess what? It's Saringan. It's weird, but I hate Paul Ivanov for that. Okay, Safran. Yes, right. Again, Russian has this quirky little rule. When you want to combine sh and zh with the letter y, you will have to, you cannot write it like this. Sh and zh. This is not the right way to write it. You would instead use letter E, spell it like this, and pronounce it like sh and zh, which is weird. And I'm sorry if my the way I'm writing this doesn't make sense. Yeah, I wish this was the case, Jeremy. Unfortunately, it isn't. So, Cyrillic alphabet does pretty good for Russian. If you don't think about all the foreign words, it does pretty good for Russian. I don't think there's anything else to go through except for introducing you guys to my handwriting and also the official handwriting, which sucks. And after that, I actually want you guys to ask me questions because, yeah, Russian cursive is death. I want you guys to ask me questions because getting isolated answers when you don't have questions that require those answers is something that I don't think is very fruitful. The answers are most fruitful and effective when you have questions which require those answers. That's what I think. So if you guys will have any questions, well, until we get to that part, you have time to figure them out, and then you can ask me if you want to. Okay. So let me prepare for you this here little sheet. Okay, there we go. This here's a sheet. Russian cursive is cursed for the most part. And I am going to both write for you the way we write in Russian officially and provide an alternative, my handwriting. Okay? So, letter A is written like this. I think I'm actually not, it's not going to be enough space for all these. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it like this. Yeah, that's better. This is better. Alrighty. Again. Letter A. We write it like this. Letter B. Officially, it's written like this, but I write it like this, which is not that different, but a bit quicker. Babushka indeed. I have a babushka just behind this here wall. So gotta be quiet, or she might get angry. Okay. A, B. Then we have letter V, which is, well, officially it's written like this, I think. Right, but I write it like this. Not too much of a difference. A, B, V, G. Okay. G. So, official way to write a cursive G will be like this. But I swap the uppercase to this here. So it looks exactly the same as lowercase, just bigger. I don't know. That's just, I feel more comfortable doing that. Next, we have D. Officially, it's written like this. I do it like this. Not too much of a difference, but still, it's there, right? I think this is what I'm doing here is an incomprehensible mess. Is there a better way to do this, or should I? Oh, actually, I used to write the as a triangle too in the past. That's a thing I used to do as well. Yeah, delta. We've got something in common, Lane. We've got something in common. But we're good there. Next is, yeah, right? Official way would be to write it like this. I do it like this. The same goes for yo. I just do it like this. I put yo. Now the monstrosity. J. All right. The monstrosity. The official way to write this monstrosity would be this here. So a breakdown of this here is close bracket, a little thunderbolt in the middle, open bracket. Now, I hate it. So what I do is this here, which is better. Then we have Z. We have I, Y, K, L, M, N. I'm speeding up. That's okay. Now, for some reasons, I have changed this here, and now I write it like this. You can see my lowercase n has this long stretched vertical stroke. Now, the reason for that is because in Russian cursive, there's 3 letters, which upon writing them quickly, I somehow managed to make them all look the same. They are P, they are N, and they are K. And I don't think I can replicate this right now, but in the past, when I used to write these letters, they all looked the same when I tried to write them quickly. And that is why I came up with this little distinction here. And I think my teachers hate me for it, but they have to suck it up because I ain't changing it. I love it. MN, okay. Or then we have the pi, right? We have P. Now the way I write it is just like this. P, a little bit more humble, so to say. OP, okay, right. R, R, S. Now this here is tricky. The print for T looks like this, but the cursive is cursed. It looks like this. 3 legs and a roof. And, oh my God, English lowercase m represents Russian lowercase t. This is weird. That is why I came up with my way to simply do it like this. Yeah, I hate it. I like my way much more too. That's why I'm keeping it as the. Okay, right. Then we have U. We have H. We have F. Now, let me just make it slower. F. This probably looks like something that kids should not see. Okay. F. We have ts, which makes that TS sound. Ts. Ch. We have sh. And little sh with a tail. I'm forgetting something. I honestly do not remember the V alphabet perfectly. It's a mess. It's just a random, I don't know, conglomeration of letters. The R. It's in the end. It's in the end. It's the last letter in the alphabet. There's actually a saying in Russian. You see the word ya means I. And they say ya is the last letter of the alphabet. So when you're being selfish, they tell you that ya is the last letter of the alphabet. That's a really funny one. We used to say it in school all the time. Okay. Sure. Damn it, I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting which one is supposed to go next. Oh, right, I have it written down here. How convenient. I forgot that I made... I forgot that I have written it all out like this over here. Wow, I didn't have to stress it out like this. Right, the E is written like this. The monstrosity. One of the monstrosities. Well, at least we're not dealing with Old Church Slavonic, because those letters were actually weird. This here, that there is the letter U. Again, as in words, it, big, fish, fist, Rick. It makes almost the same sound as English I. Almost the same. Nearly identical. Right? Then we have our, again, the soft mark, the hard mark, the the diphthong U, and ya. Now, this is not how they write it officially. Officially, I'm forgetting how it was. Wait. Oh, god damn it, I'm forgetting. Yeah, you does look like a fish. Okay, this is the way to, I think, I forgot how to write it officially. Wow. You know why is that? Because this here looks like a rune, and it's supreme in its simplicity. And I love it. Just a little thingy. A little knot. Okay. I think I've went over everything I planned to go through for today. So to conclude this lesson, we're gonna make these little words. That was a joke. Guys, I'd like you to ask me some questions about Russian, if you have any, so that I can help you clarify some things. If you have any questions for me, okay? Does anybody? My favorite letter is my way to write zh, because I can do the ASMR with it. Or wait, actually, what Mike posted here. I don't think I have a stereo, but let's imagine I have. Which symbol? Yeah. No, it's just a little bit softer. See, again, this here makes the sound t, but with a soft mark added, it becomes t, not ch, just t, a little bit softer. Like imagine if you have the p and slap a e to it. This here I just posted is in Latin. Genders of nouns. Good God. I don't think I know all of the conjugations. Like I don't have them sorted in my head, like in a table. So I don't think I can do this right now. I'll have to do some research. Russian nouns have 3 genders actually, and this is the most conservative country in the world. Yeah. Russian does have cases. It has 6 of them. And the 3 genders of Russian verbs are masculine, feminine, and neutral. I think I'll have to go through both cases and the ways to conjugate Russian nouns in the future. I'm enjoying this so far, and I think I will. I think I want to repeat this sometime later. Whoa. This is a question I do not actually know if I have an answer for. For me, there's only 2 reasons to learn a language. If you need it, because you're going to live in a country that uses it officially, or if you want it. If you want to learn Russian, go ahead and learn it. It is a rather hard language, a rather difficult one, so it might be difficult to combine learning Russian with something else. But again, I believe you can do this if you want to do this. Yes, привет. Привет is the way to say hello in Russian, but there's a more polite way, which is здравствуйте. Now this here is a monstrosity of a word, so we tend to just pronounce it здрасте. Я вас люблю. I love you guys too.